there's this general structure to how things are actually done, the incentives that actually exist in higher education for researchers, particularly in business schools, that a lot of people have grievances in. I think, like, in general, if you're in the profession for a long time, if you don't play, there's a game to it. If you don't like playing it, or if you strive for doing things in the long run, generally most people don't like the incentive structure. I think you'll get a lot of grievances by people that are within it. It's interesting because this is the thing, the bread and butter of what we actually study is the sort of incentive structure to make. So here's the issue, right? The incentive structure is set up quite well to be overtly productive. And productivity, here's the problem, is very, very narrowly defined and what that actually looks like, and it's based on outcomes. Only those things that matters when you have things that are coming off the line. And I've talked about it just recently in terms of the challenges of what that actually faces on this channel. But the interesting thing is I always think, like, okay, what's the alternative? I can have a lot of grievances. I can be, annoyed and all that kind of stuff. I think anybody you talk to, even if you talk to from the lowest level to deans to presidents of universities, they're all going to tell you the same thing. They're going to say, this is ridiculous. Anybody that's in the game for a long time. But then you have to think about, okay, what is the alternative? What does that look like? And I don't think it's necessarily that the structure and how things are set up are completely wrong. It's just that how we actually play the game is we've sort of evolved to teach these norms of how to compete in this game. We have a structure, sort of culture of competition, which I think is somewhat okay, but we're sort of taught how do we trick other people. There's kind of like this deep-rooted, it's challenging with this idea. I'm stumbling here because I'm trying to describe to you what it's actually like. Well, we measure outcomes, but people cannot judge the quality of the outcome very well. And the way that we get this outcome out is through a blind system where nobody knows each other. That's the peer review system. And it's based on just a few individuals. And it's very challenging to work within this particular system. But what is the alternative? I think the only thing that we can do, besides, and I'm a complete advocate of more transparency, I don't think the blind system actually works. But the other thing, and I don't think it would change that much. I don't think actually scientific progress would change that much if we were much more open about things. And we did much more of a kind of very much like an open science perspective, that everything is just open. And that's what I'm hopefully am trying to build, with Reciprocity Project, but it's also thinking about the norms of how we deal with things. It's one thing to be transparent about things, but we still have these norms of competition, and it's not just competition, it's like ruthless competition. And it's somewhat destructive to have that. So how do we actually change that? What does that look like? It means being more open and being more comfortable with being open. For me, that's very hard to do, but I've been probably one of the most open people on the internet about this, but in public with other people, I struggle with that. But there's a lot of it has to do with teaching norms, really thinking about what does it mean, teaching things like, and it's not necessarily ethics, right? There's lots of ethics courses that are taught, but it's actually teaching them and encouraging conflict and awkwardness. I think all of those things are really important, and those are really subtle, and it's hard to know what is the right possible path with any of that. I don't know. I can't describe that at this moment, but it's very, very subtle in terms of thinking about how do we teach these norms where we question everything and we focus on not necessarily expedient, because that's what things are, but doing good work. And we have to be very well aware of that. What does it mean to do good work? And that definition, the challenges that people come from all sorts of backgrounds, come from different countries, they come from different families. Nobody has the same experience. And we have to teach people, what is this thing of good work? I think years ago might have been easier in some circumstances because we were more homogenous within groups, but we really weren't. So it's still difficult. We still face these issues of what it means. And I think it's just, honestly, it's trying to be as open as you possibly can. That openness could be labeled in different ways, but it's really thinking about how you can instill, if you experience something that doesn't go as right as you thought it was, that you're not necessarily wrong or problematic. And it's figuring out how to deal with those particular moments of conflict, of ambiguity. Those things are really, really incredibly important for us as we move forward. And I don't know. I don't have an explicit way of actually talking about this. I know this is frustrating, and I'm not sure if I don't think it's an incentive thing, but I think that's a key thing that's missing is the norms that we have. We should be instilling these norms a lot more. How do we do this? I don't know. I think the only thing I know is that if I speak more openly about my flaws and my experiences, it destigmatizes a lot of things. And I hope it encourages other people to do things that are important in their lives, that move away from these kind of really strange incentive systems that we have. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.